My name is Kayla Hoskins. I am 16 years old. I make videos and music. Indie music. I'd say like pop rock. Well, my dad is a lawyer, but he's very like musical. And my mom sings, so I was kind of born with it, and I've always liked creative work. And then when I was 14, I found out I could write music really well, and so I did. I only worry about my future. That's it. Because I didn't really have time to be a teenager because I graduated high school when I was 15. Um, well, I did some of it online. And when you do it online, you can, well, at least for my district, you could have done all of the courses at the same time. I got first involved with EDP 445 when he messaged me first on Instagram, and I started freaking out. And he told me he was suicidal, which made me freak out even more. And I wanted to block this person, but it's not in my character to just let someone who's like suicidal like come into my life and then like just leave them like that. EDP found me on Instagram when my account had 20,000 followers off of music that I was making, and then they got banned. Um, I first replied to EDP because I always reply to anyone who messages me, and I didn't know who he was, but I freaked out because he told me he was suicidal, and from then on, I just started giving him advice, and sooner rather than later, he started sending very flirtatious messages. We were messaging for like a week or so before things started getting real, like deep.
And when you say real deep, what do you mean?
When I say real deep, I mean like flirtatious. I felt uncomfortable, and he never really told me his age when he started sending me those messages. But I figured he was old, but like also everyone in Gen Z looks like 40 now, so I don't know. Yeah, I knew he was an adult, but I didn't know he was like an actual predator because he said it was acting what happened like back in 2021, and even then I didn't even like really know who he was because in 2021 I think was when he got caught. I was like fresh out of middle school. I was not in tune with that. I was watching Shane Dawson. I was not doing other stuff. Well, I met Gideon way before the EDP situation happened. I met him when he had a contest on Guess Who's the Black Person, and I won that contest. I fooled him. And then after that, his manager, Inside, added me on Discord. And then, like, a while later, Jadion added EDP into his Discord, filled with kids, for a Q&A. And I thought that was messed up, but I think that's like another way EDP found me because I was in the voice call that day, and I think he joined it, I'm not sure. And then when I told people like in the server that EDP texted me, Jadion quickly knew about it because his manager told him. And from there, Jadion just started messaging me, and he said that like he would take care of it. They would get like a decoy. Never happened. And that there was like an investigation going on behind the scenes. Never happened until my birthday, which sucked because I didn't even enjoy my birthday. And yeah. I didn't go to Gideon with the EDP situation. His manager found out about it because I told people in the Discord server about it.
Okay.
And they started talking to me. Like, they started, like, oh, like, what's happening? Like, it would be cool to catch him again, make a video out of it. And I was like, well, if you're prioritizing, like, actual law, then yeah. But I think the reason the law was never in his first consideration was because he did add EDP into his Discord with kids. So by doing that, I'm pretty sure he would have gotten in trouble for that. And yeah.
Okay, so
My intentions with messaging EDP back and forth constantly were all over the place because I did think he was funny until later on I realized he really isn't. His humor is just making fun of communities that should totally be respected. And I guess I continued messaging him because it was very like encouraged for me to keep doing it. I didn't really want to, but I didn't want to disappoint anybody. And I was kind of like stuck in the middle of like, do I disappoint my favorite content creator or do I like not and just like live in like a world filled with mixed guilt? Yes, Jidion was encouraging me to continue messaging him. It was uncomfortable, but it was also very draining. Like there was days where I didn't even like want to leave my bed because EDP talks to you a lot. Like he talks more than the average person. Like he would want to have like 3 hour long calls and he would treat me like his therapist. This entire situation made me realize that Jadion is a very selfish, greedy, and a scam artist type of person, if that makes sense. I think Jadion's motivation to keep this all going was encouraged by the people around him that leech off of him, and I think it was also encouraged by his manager because it was his manager's idea, not necessarily his, but he's still responsible for it now that I look back on it. But it does suck, like almost idolizing somebody and then like finding out they're super, super selfish behind the scenes. I feel Jidion is selfish in many ways, but the main one is that he refuses to take accountability for the entire EDP situation and he chooses to use religion to cover up his tracks in a way. Because how are you going to promote Raw Dog merch, which would be considered lustful? And how are you going to keep selling that while you're turning to God? EDP sent me dick pics throughout the conversations that we had. They were not asked for at all. I want to make that clear. I was not asking him for anything. He did it on his own. And he was trying to fly me out to Vegas on my 16th birthday to give me, quote, birthday dick. And yeah, when EDP sent me photos that were very explicit of him, I felt very uncomfortable, but I didn't really know what to do because I felt like it was encouraged by everybody. And yeah, the nature of the interactions I had with Gideon were very odd. His energy is like you can tell when a person is being fake nice just to like get something out of you. And sometimes we did like have long calls. Like I remember one time we talked about Jake Paul and Logan Paul and like how much he hated them. And I was like, yeah, me too, but like it's nostalgia. Like literal childhood memories, you know what I mean? And yeah, I told Jadion every single time that EDP would send me dick pics, but he would never tell me to like block him or anything. And I was very naive. I was like 14, 15. And I wouldn't say he encouraged me to ask him for them because I never did. And um, I don't know. I just think that he should have told me to block EDP, but he didn't. I don't think Jadion and everyone else involved told me to block EDP for the sake of content. And Face Rug, by the way, was also supposed to be involved with it. And he didn't tell me to block EDP either. Skeeter never told me that either. And they lied to my mom and they were like, no, we're gonna get like a decoy. And I was like, what? Like, when is that happening? And that never happened. It was just me talking to him the entire time. I think that they definitely used me, and by they I mean Jadeon, Skeeter, and everyone else involved. I think it was definitely a sociopathic tendency to use me like that because I mean, I would never do that to like a fan or something. I would never use them for content at their own expense because I don't think you guys realize like I get those like flashbacks of his dick pics like constantly. I think it's very weird to get flashbacks like that, obviously, of EDP's explicit pictures, but there's nothing that I can do about it. So, I mean, like I can't erase my memory unless I go through like MK Ultra or something. But yeah, the confrontation video that EDP happened to be in with Jadeon and Skeeter was very unplanned. I was hoping to get a sting operation, but they kind of didn't want to do that because Jadeon hired a private investigator that found EDP's apartment, his work, and his dialysis center. So on my birthday, they went to confront him. Because I went on my birthday to the cops and gave them evidence last minute and didn't start giving them evidence since the start, there is a delay in the case, but it's still pretty strong because there's like two other victims in it, and these victims do not want to be public at all because one of them almost lost their jobs due to one of Jadeon's friends. And the sting operation never happened. I wanted it to, but Jadeon just kind of rushed it and he was mentally in another place. But I don't want to blame him, although I do think he should take accountability for things. I don't want to blame him because I feel like when a manager or whatever is telling you to do this, you would assume it's right, right? So, yeah. No, I did not send EDP any pictures of me that were nude. That would be CP. I wouldn't do that. What did happen when he asked me for them was that Jadeon got like a look-alike of me, and I kind of photoshopped her face into Google pictures.
Okay. So the photo you sent was photoshopped.
Yeah.
You put your face on someone else's body.
No, 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 no. I put like a look of mine. Wait, a look of mine. A look-alike of mine onto someone else's body. And it didn't show the lookalike's like face or anything. It was very distorted. I purposely photoshopped it. And this was days prior to Jadeon and Skeeter confronting him at dialysis. He sent me, and by he I mean EDP, he sent me nudes through vanish mode. And I was gonna take pictures of them, like screenshots of them, to save them so that it could be used as evidence. But I just ended up using my camera. The strategy of the conversations was to just talk to him, get as much evidence as I could from him, not asking him for it though, but him just sending it, if that makes sense. And then we would just use that. Because he already sent it once, but if he sent it like another 5 times, that'd be even better. If that makes sense. Does that? EDP didn't affect my life at all. I don't think he did. Because I'm still like the same person. I'll always remain very humble. There is an investigation on EDP. He wasn't supposed to know that there was, though, but I'm pretty sure Jadeon leaked it. And things are moving accordingly. I talked to someone that went through something similar that I went through, and they said it took them about a year. And it's only been like, I think, 6 months for me, so I'm not sure. But I did receive a letter from the FBI, or no, not the FBI, the Department of Justice in December. And they gave me like resources to look at the case status, and I did do that. And I found out that there is, I think, CP investigators looking into him and like drug investigators looking into him. I don't know.
Why would there be drug investigators looking into him?
I am honestly not quite sure. I don't know if he has had any other legal issues in the past. I do think EDP will end up in jail. If not, it will be dialysis that gets him at some point. But I think that the 2% chance of him not going into jail is because Jadeon and Skeeter tried to taint evidence a little bit. Jadeon and Skeeter did many things wrong, and I wish that they would just take accountability for what they did. I think encouraging me to keep talking to EDP for their own personal gain of content was pretty immature and wrong. And I think that them lying to my parents, saying that, well, not them, Jadeon specifically, lying to my parents and saying that it was going to be them talking to him was also wrong, because now it puts my parents in a bad place and they're nothing like that. And I think that Jadeon's way of putting my case at jeopardy was also wrong, because he should have waited for a sting operation. I feel like Jadeon put my case at jeopardy because in his video that he made with Skeeter, well, not his video, Skeeter's video, he showed EDP a picture of him with makeup on. And there was a cop in that video that told him not to do that. And apparently that could be along the lines of tainting evidence. But yeah, I do think Jadeon partially quit YouTube because of EDP. But I also think that there is a darker influence behind it, because when you get to a certain level of public eyes being on you, certain people want this from you, and if you don't give them that, then you get in trouble. And I don't think that he wanted that, but I do think the main reason was him messing with the EDP situation. And I think, I mean, I'm not sure if he knows, but there is 2 friends that he has, friends that are pedophiles, and they're famous. But it's not my place to speak about it because I don't know what these people are really involved in. And I'm gonna just say, I don't want the like Illuminati to come after me. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think the darker reason of Jadeon quitting YouTube was because when you get to a certain level of influence, I mean, he was growing very fast. You get contracts, and if you don't get to sign these contracts, or if you don't agree with these people, if you don't want to sign to YouTube, if you don't want to sign to Twitch, whatever. Well, not YouTube. Wait, hold on. I'm not shading YouTube. I'm gonna just say that. You kind of get thrown in like, I don't want to say a blacklisting list, but along the lines of that, you get promoted less if you don't want to. I don't know if I would say sell out, but along the lines of that, I don't know. I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Okay.
I feel like I was a victim of EDP, as much as the internet made me think I wasn't. But I think I was mainly a victim. This is gonna sound crazy, but mainly a victim of Jadeon, in a way. I feel like for a long time I was his like little puppet.
In what way were you his puppet?
I feel like I was his puppet because I was just like kind of doing the things he demanded me to do, because I was like such a huge, I wouldn't say fan, but supporter. Like he was the type of guy like I would tune into and watch with my family every other weekend. And I don't know. He reminded me a lot of like Liza Koshy in a way. I feel like I am a victim of Gideon because he encouraged me to keep talking to a pedophile. I do get a lot of flashbacks seeing EDPs fucking atomic bomb explosions. Yes, I see that a lot in my head. Every time I see someone that looks like him. And even, not now, but even back then, I would go to the store when all of this was very recent. And I was with my mom at Target actually. And I saw someone who looked exactly like him, like the back profile. And I started freaking out. I was like, what? I have always liked making videos and any type of creative work. I've always liked to do it. And that video was not scripted, and I looked bratty in it. I'm very aware. But that video shouldn't have been posted in that way. I started speaking about that situation just to raise awareness on it because people were forgiving him for making an apology video. And he clearly was not sticking to his word at all.
Okay.
But in regards to me being a clout chaser, I'm not a clout chaser because I feel like people who are clout chasers end up in really, really bad points of their life. Like, for example, Neon, a streamer, he is a clout chaser because he clickbaits a lot just for views and money. Now, me personally, am I an opportunist? Yes, I am. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you're not harming anybody. And I don't think I was harming anybody. And especially when you're my age, if you're 16, people are going to think that you're young and dumb. So you kind of have to be an opportunist. You have to make your own opportunities. You cannot be waiting for them. But this entire situation was not that at all. I just think people started calling it that because I seemed very bratty. I think EDP is a danger because a kid doesn't want to have to talk to a predator. A predator will find a way in. He has a picture up somewhere where he is with like this very young, like Latina girl. She's like 6. They're all over Instagram. I don't know the account by memory, but that is concerning because he likes kids. That girl cannot protect herself. Whether she's old enough to know or not, he is a danger because he shouldn't be around kids. And he is. He puts himself in those situations.
What were your phone calls with him like?
I don't remember actually. I'm trying to think. I literally don't remember. It was like back in August.
Yeah, all good.
Well, I did find out by you that Jadion was going to be in this. So I'd like to let the viewers know that I don't know what they're going to say, but don't believe it. Because I have proof. I'm just too scared to show the proof because Jadion has a big audience and I don't want them to attack me. But I could show some of the proof.
Proof of what?
Proof of him kind of encouraging it, proof of him like trying to silence me for me saying that he was selling Raw Dog merch and turning to Christ. I'm not allowed to say Christ. God, sorry. I don't think a predator will ever feel bad for their actions. But I'm not here to shame predators, although they should be. I feel like everybody can change. I just think that the first step to change starts with realizing what you're doing wrong. And I don't think he wants to do that. But if he did, he would just be much more respected. Like, all I would want from him, I don't even care. Well, yes, I do. I do care if he goes to jail. But I just wish he would go to a psychiatrist because he told me that his dad kicked him out when he was like 17 for doing similar stuff to this. So it's been like his entire life destiny to talk to kids. The last thing I think people should know about EDP445 is that he gives relationships 100 chances, but he doesn't give the gym one. So instead of him saying I belong in the cuckoo house, baby girl, you belong in the gym. And I'm not here to body shame anybody because I have had an eating disorder myself. But you can't be talking when you're like that. Like, why should I care about what he has to say about me? But just save your kids. I don't know, save your kids. Stop having kids. Stop getting sperm donors because of him. Is he a sperm donor?
I don't think so.